Good afternoon. Yosef Hatsadik. This is this week's topic. Yosef Hatsadik. You have the parasha. The parasha. We start learning about him from Parashat Vayishlach. From Parashat Vayetze. And who was Yosef Hatsadik? There are so many questions regarding Yosef Hatsadik and why is he called Yosef Hatsadik. So first, B'Shem Hashem Naaseh V'Natzliach. This shiur is le'ilu nishmat all those murdered prior and on and after October 7. And refuah shlema to Zechariah Dov ben Pershira, Avraham ben Chana, Ora bat Dalia, Shimon Daniel ben Michal, and also for the safe return of our hostages and soldiers, for Zivug Hagun to all our singles. Thank you to all my listeners for tuning in, and may Hashem bless you for wanting to grow and learn Torah. And thank you Hashem for all your chasadim. So, Yosef Hatsadik. There's so much going on with Yosef Hatsadik. And there are so many questions. So I'm just going to read to you questions that I wrote down before we really start talking about this topic. And then, as we go along, those questions are going to be answered. So, number one, who was Yosef? Who was he truly? Who was Yosef? Number two, why is he called Yosef Hatzadik? What about the others? The others are not called Yehuda Hatzadik or Zevulun Hatzadik. Number three, why did the brothers hate him? Number four, why does the Torah tells us they are the children of Yaakov? And then, who are the children? So we expect to see a list of the children, but it doesn't. Just tells us Yosef. What about the others? Number five, how could the brothers hate him and want to kill him, yet they were tzaddikim, they were shiftei ka, the shivatim of Hashem? Number six, in Tehillim it says, Tehillim 77, Pasuk 16, it says, Bnei Yaakov veYosef Sela. Talks about the sons of Yaakov and Yosef. Sela means forever. Number seven, Yosef tells his father, Dibatam ra'a. It means that he came and he told his father things about suspicions that he had about the brothers. So what's this about? Number eight, how could Yosef suspect the brothers of Gilui Arayot? How could Yosef suspect the brothers of having illicit relationships? Number nine, the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah, they had always had a very good relationship with Yosef when he was young. So how come they took part in the sale of Yosef as a slave? Number 10, the Pasuk clearly states that Yisrael, who is Yaakov, loved Yosef more than all the other children. How is it? How can it be? Why does the Pasuk use Yisrael, the name Israel, and not Yaakov? And what do we learn from the words Velo Yachlu Dabro Leshalom? That the brothers could not speak to Yosef in peace. Number 12, very clearly, the Pasuk says that Yaakov loved Yosef more than his brothers and made him a ketonet pasim. He made him a coat, a very special a coat of colors. So what caused the hate? Was it the reports, the what he was telling his father about the brothers, or was it the extra love that and attention that was given to Yosef? And he was very open. Yaakov was very open about this love and attention that he was giving to Yosef. Number 13. Why did Yaakov show favoritism to Yosef? Number 14. Why does it say Israel and not Yaakov? Number 15. Why did Yaakov allow Yosef to behave in such a way as to be like the boss over the brothers? Number 16. Why did Yosef tell his brothers the dreams? Why? 17. What was the purpose of telling the brothers the dreams? Number 18. Why did the dreams seem ridiculous in the eyes of the brothers? Number 19. What were the brothers afraid of? And 20. What did the brothers know that made them want to kill Yosef? So we have lots of questions. So we're going to start, and Bezrat Hashem, hopefully we are going to get all the answers to those questions and even more. So the Zohar tells us that even before Yosef was born, at the time that Rachel was pregnant, Leah was also pregnant. For Rachel, it was her first pregnancy, but for Leah, it wasn't. So, I don't know if you can see here, Leah, she already had Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, and Issachar. At one point, Leah stopped having children, and she told Yaakov, come marry Zilpah. So this way you will have more children, because they all knew that they were supposed to have 12 children for the 12 tribes. And so Yaakov married Zilpah, and he had Gad and Asher. But before that happened, Rachel had already given Bilhah to Yaakov and said to Yaakov, marry her. I don't have any children. Rachel had not been pregnant yet. And if she has children, it's the same as if I have children. And so from Bilhah, Dan and Naphtali were born. Afterwards, Yisachar and the Vulun were also born. So that means that by now Yaakov had 10 of the Shevatim. They were born. Now Rachel is pregnant for the first time, and Leah is also pregnant. And so Leah is thinking to herself, I already have 6. Each one of the maids has 2. That's 10. What happens? And she knew that she was pregnant. And she said to herself, if I have another one, and it's going to be again a boy, what's going to be with Rachel? Is Rachel not going to have a boy? Will she have a girl then? And actually, Leah's reasoning was not really far off, because Rachel was pregnant with the girl. And here the Zohar and Targum Yonatan tell us something amazing. That Leah started to pray. Leah and Rachel had a very strong bond. And Leah started to pray for her sister. And she says, Hashem, please, I don't want my sister not to have at least 2 Shevatim, just like the Bilhah and Zilpah, at least 2 Shevatim. Please, Hashem. And she begged Hashem. What happened? The baby that was in Leah's stomach, a womb, was really a boy. The baby that was in Rachel's womb was a girl. Hashem switched those babies. So that Rachel got the boy and Leah got the girl. And that's how Dinah was born. And that's how Yosef was born to Rachel. And Dinah was born to Leah. Amazing, just amazing, unbelievable. But that's what the Zohar tells us, and also the Targum Yonatan. Now that we know that Yosef is born, okay, Chachamim tell us that there were many things that happened in the life of Yaakov that also happened in the life of Yosef. Many similarities. Actually, there's a list of 24 similarities. I don't know them all. I was only able to get 4 or 5 of them. So this is what we're going to be starting with. That number one, that Yaakov was an extremely handsome man, and Yosef got the looks from his father. He also was extremely handsome, just like his father. And actually, in the Gemara, it brings down the story of Rav Kahana, that Rav Kahana was extremely, extremely handsome, and also Rabbi Yohanan ben Zakkai. Now, he was also very, very, very handsome, extremely handsome. In fact, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was so handsome that he would go and sit outside, that across from the mikveh, the ladies' mikveh, so that when the ladies would come out, they would see him. Because this way, they would give birth to children who were tzaddikim and also very handsome. The next thing that we learn is that Yosef was born with the Brit Milah, and Yaakov also was born with a Brit Milah. Yaakov had a brother who did not like him. Yosef had brothers who did not like him. Yaakov was away from his parents for 22 years, and Yosef was away from Yaakov for 22 years. The brothers wanted to kill Yosef, and Esav wanted to kill Yaakov. So these are the few similarities that I was able to get hold of. And now we learn here about Yosef's character. We see in Yosef, we see his anava, that he's humble. He's a very humble person. Yosef, it says that he was hanging around and being friendly and socializing with the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah. And they appreciated very much his caring. Because the sons of Leah, they didn't. The sons of Leah were not really friendly with the sons of Zilpah and Bilhah. So, in the beginning of Parashat Vayeshev, in Pasuk Bet, it says, Ve'ele todot Yaakov, Yosef ben Sheva Esre Shana. These are the children of Yaakov. Yosef was 17 years old. So obviously the question is, Yosef is not the only child. Where are the other children? We expect to see the list of all the children, but we don't see that, right? And this comes here and is telling us something special about Yosef. Yosef is number 11 in the family, and he's the only one that is mentioned here. What happened to number 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the way to number 10, right? So in Bereshit Rabbah, the Midrash says the following, that Toldot, like it says, Ve'ele Toldot Yaakov, the word Toldot has two meanings. That sons, Toldot means sons, like generations, and the second meaning is the happenings, the chronicles. Yaakov wanted to rest. He had lots of trouble with Esav, with Lavan, and then Dinah, having to run away from Shechem because the brothers killed the people of Shechem. So Yaakov really had troubles in his life and being away from his family for 22 years. So Yaakov really said, Bikesh, this is what Rashi says, Bikesh lashevet b'shalva. He wanted to have some peace of mind, some quiet time, regular time, boring time. But this is not what happened. Why? Because the Satan kafza alav rogzo shel Satan. The Satan said, what? It's not enough. You're going to have such a beautiful olam haba that you also want to have a peace and quiet in this life? No, it's not going to happen. And so the trouble with Yosef started. And Chachamim tell us that Yosef was very special to Yaakov. So bit by bit, we're going to come to understand it and explain why Yosef was so special. When Yaakov lived in Lavan, all their children were born, except until Yosef. Binyamin was not born, but until Yosef. When Yosef was born, that's when Yaakov felt that he had the mental and the spiritual power and ability to face Esav. Because of Yosef. Because Yosef was born. So this is when he went to Lavan and told him, I want to go back home, right? And then all the troubles with Lavan happened, and Yaakov left. Yaakov had understood how special Yosef was. That already in the lifetime of Yaakov made Yosef be responsible for the spiritual well-being of the family, and also, as we see later on when Yosef went down to Mitzrayim and the whole family came down to Mitzrayim, Yosef was also in charge of all their financial and well-being. And so in Orach Chaim says that many of Yaakov's troubles came to him because of Yosef. Ele toldot Yaakov, Yosef. Why does it say only Yosef? Because many of the trouble from the time that Yaakov came to Eretz Yisrael and he settled in Beersheba, that's when the trouble started with Yosef. And Rashi explains that, as I said before, that he wanted to have peace of mind. And because of that, that's when he had all those troubles. And Chachamim teach us that Yosef haya b'ma'ala ruchanit kol kach gavoha, that Yosef was really, truly above all the other sons of Yaakov. He was on a much higher level of spirituality, and from Yosef there was supposed to be 12 Shevatim, not only from Yaakov but also from Yosef. So Yaakov was supposed to have 12 Shevatim, and Yosef was also supposed to have 12 Shevatim. So what happened? What happened to these 12 Shevatim? And so the Midrash explains, and Orach Chaim HaKadosh explains. And it says like this. When Potiphar bought Yosef, Potiphar really bought Yosef as a slave to use him for his own enjoyment. It says that Hashem protected Yosef that Potiphar was castrated and he wasn't able to do anything. He wasn't able to harm Yosef. But then Potiphar's wife, she is the one who came after Yosef every single day, every moment of the day, any time of the day and night. She would not leave him alone. For over a year, much more than a year, she would just go after him and tell him, I want to have a relationship with you. And every time he said, I can't. I'm not allowed. It's not allowed. But she would not leave him alone. Until the day when, finally, it was the day of a holiday. And that day she pretended to be sick, that she wasn't feeling well. And so she stayed home, but no one else was at home. But Yosef came home. He was a slave. He was supposed to be working. And so he goes in to the house, and that's when she decides, now is the best opportunity for me to actually get what I want from him. And so she came to Yosef. She really would not leave him alone. Got to the point when Yosef felt that if he was just about to just give in because it was just too much. So what did he do? Since he didn't want to look at her, he didn't want to face her, he didn't want to have anything to do with her, he was leaning on the floor, not lying down, but leaning on the floor with his hands spread out and his toes on the top of his toes was touching the floor, and he was just holding himself just to make sure that the moment would pass and then he can just run away from her. But because of what she had done to him, there was some seed that came out from Yosef. Those seeds that came out from Yosef were actually the neshamot of the 10 tzaddikim that were supposed to be from his shevatim. So what was Yosef left with? Only 2. Ephraim, that's what he got, Ephraim and Menashe. And Yaakov included those 2 with the shevatim, with his own children, and only from the sons of Yosef. To the point where when Ben Israel went into Eretz Israel, they actually were given a territory, just like all the other shevatim. But that's it. Yosef could not get any more 12. He only got 2 shevatim. And in Pasuk Bet, it's sort of like an introduction about Yosef. And it says that Yosef was 17 years old when he had his dreams. And yet it took 22 years for those dreams to come true. Yosef experienced full physical maturity at that age, at the age of 17. Vehu na'ar. However, sometimes he acted a little immature. He would fix his hair, he would fix his eyebrows, whatever men used to do in those days. And actually, many mefarshim, many rabbis ask the question, they say, if what happened during his lifetime would have happened later on, like the dreams and whatever happened, especially the dreams, if these would have happened at a later stage of Yosef's life, then maybe the story would have been different. But Hashem had a plan. Hashem had a plan, and things had to be done at a certain time. And so Yosef was at 17 years old when he had the dreams. Before I speak about the dreams, I would like to speak about the suspicions and the accusations that Yosef told his father about his brothers. And he told his father not only about the sons of Leah, but also about the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah. And so he would say like this. Yosef, who had previously befriended the sons of Zilpah and Bilhah, right? And he would socialize with them and associate with them. He felt that Bilhah and Zilpah, they were the wives of his father, and there was no difference in rank between them, between him, between the sons of Leah, and between the sons of Zilpah and Bilhah. He found they were all the same. We have one father, and we are all brothers. Different mothers, but we're all equal. However, the pasuk says, "Vayave Yosef et dibatam ra'a el avihem," that Yosef brought bad news, a bad report about the brothers to their father. Why does it say their father? Because, and not his father. Because he felt he was in a position where he was taking care of the family. Since Yaakov felt that Yosef was actually a continuation of himself. And he said to Yosef, you are in charge of the family. So Yosef felt very close to his father. And so he came and he says to his father, this is what they do. What did they do? So first, he says, oher min hachai. Oher min hachai, it means, and it's a law of the Torah and also for non-Jews, that if let's say there is a cow, which is healthy, nothing is wrong with it, and it's alive, and a man comes, the owner comes, and decides he's going to cut off a leg, and make it a barbecue or whatever it is, cooks it, and he eats it. Torah says we are not allowed to do that. One day Yosef saw the brothers eating a calf, and they didn't do shechita on the calf. So he said, what is this? What are you doing? What's going on here? What was the story? That the brothers had slaughtered a cow. Once they slaughtered the cow and they opened up the cow, they found that it had a calf. And according to the halacha, a calf that is found in the stomach of its mother, of the cow, does not need shechita. Yosef saw them, but he didn't see them do the shechita on the mother. He said, what are you doing? This is wrong. And he told his father. But he was not really exact. It's not true. But he just had suspicions. The other matter is that the brothers did not really, the sons of Leah, they were not exactly very social with the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah. So, why is that so? Because I said their mothers, Zilpah and Bilhah, they are maidservants. Our father has a relationship with them. So they were born, so according to halacha, since the mother is a maid, so the child is a servant also, just like the mother. However, Rambam says that if the husband, the man, comes to the maid and he frees her from her bondage, and then he marries her, then the child is Jewish and the child is just like everyone else. And actually, this is what Yaakov had done. Actually, it's the wives. It's Leah who said, "Come marry Zilpah," and it's Rachel who said, "Come and marry Bilhah." So obviously, Yaakov freed them from their bondage. Can't think that Yaakov is not going to not free them and just have a real relationship for his own pleasure. There was a purpose for him marrying these women, and they were freed. But the brothers thought, no, they're not freed. And since they're not free, so they're really servants also. Obviously, later on, they were proven wrong, right? And, but he said, Joseph went to his father and said, you know what? I think there is some kind of illicit relationship going on here. And that was very upsetting for the brothers. Okay, this was part one. I'm going to stop here and I'm going to restart again for part two.